Okay, part 2, density of solids. All right, we got through the materials list, and now we have our sheet, density of solids. It should be in from your OLS. Let me put it up in front so you see it. This part 1, density activity 1, density of solids. That's the sheet you should have here. All right, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go through. Basically just go through the sheet. I'm going to show you one of the experiments using something different than what they use to explain it. So now you'll actually get to see it as well as be able to read it. And then you're going to do 4 or 5 on your own. Okay, so what we have for this one is our graduated cylinder. I told you earlier I'm going to use a Super Ball. It's just a home material from home that I picked out. You can use other things. I got nail clippers, a pen, maybe a paper clip or a sharpener, anything you want to try and find the density of. I don't, anything you can. It's fine. We're going to find out the similarities. We're going to find out the differences. Okay. Also, you have your pocket. A little bright there off the light. You have your pocket scale. All right. On the inside, you're going to take the cover off. On the inside, it shows you, it has the directions on how to use them. All right, you can use them. It'll help you with any little things that you may need. How to use the buttons, the mode, the tear, to zero things out, and that's the way we go. Make sure you put the batteries in there, because that's the way we need to do it. Now, follow along. It says to calculate the density of an object, you need to measure the object's mass and then the volume, and then divide the mass by the volume. So, on your sheet, it actually says it. I'm going to show you the formula here. You're going to use it anytime you have the opportunity to have these calculations. D is equal to M over V, or density is equal to mass over volume. That is the formula for density. You're also going to need this formula for your liquids, density of liquids demo a little bit later on, although we're not going to use the formula during that experiment, but you need to know it. So there you go with that. Now it says in this one, if you wanted to read through there, they're trying to find the density of a pen. And what they did is they are going to find the mass of their object, and then they're going to use 50 milliliters of liquid. What I've done, a little different, and I'm just showing you something different because it can work either way. I have my graduated cylinder here. What I did, I filled it up, and I don't think you can see it all that well, but I filled it up to 100 milliliters. Make it a little bit easier sometimes to see it. Now I have it on an angle, but that's 100 milliliters of water. So you can do it with either. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my scale. I'm going to turn it on. You can see the blue light turns it on. And I'm going to get the mass of this object. That's the first thing I want to do. And when I get the mass of the ball, it says 12.2, and there's a little G up on the top. So that tells me that it's in grams. All right, so what I do is I'll take my pen, and I will take, I will put mass, or M, is equal to 12.2 grams. And make sure, as with any type of math or any type of scientific experiment we do, we can't just put 12.2 tells us almost nothing. It tells us a number, but it doesn't tell us what form. Is it kilograms? Is it milligrams? Is it milliliters? What is it? So we need to put grams down to make sure that we are using our units to make sure whenever we do an experiment, we have to have the units. They're very important to have. So I have my 12.2 gram Super Ball. I'm going to put this off to the side. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to move this up so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to kind of tilt this over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just roll the Super Ball into the cup, into the graduated cylinder, not the cup. All right? Now, what I'll do is I will look. I knew I started with 100 milliliters, I started with 100 milliliters of liquid, of water. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the difference from before I put the ball in to after. So I'm going to calculate what it's at. It's gone from 100 milliliters, and if you look at your graduated cylinder, you can see it goes from 90 to 100, where there's no number, to 110. So by figuring that out, you know that each of those lines is 2 milliliters. All right, it has to be. It can't figure out any other way. So you're going to go to the closest line, and it has gone up from 100 milliliters to 108 milliliters. So the volume of the object, I take 108 milliliters minus 100 milliliters, because that's the difference that was in there, and I get 8 milliliters as my volume. So volume is equal to 8 milliliters. Again, units are very important. Very important. We can't just have 12 over 8. That's a math problem. All right, we need grams and milliliters. So I have density. Remember our formula. Density is equal to mass over volume. And I'm going to fill in the numbers on this so you can see it. So density is equal to mass, which was 12.2 grams, over volume, which was 8 milliliters. And we get what looks like this. Okay? That's what that's going to look like. Okay? You have 12.2 over 8. And then you're just going to divide. So I'm going to take my calculator. Alright, and I'm going to take 12.2 divided by 8 and come up with a number. And the number I come up with is 1.525. And it's very important that I put grams over milliliters. Okay? Because that's what density, the units of density are grams over milliliters. So I've divided those two numbers, and my answer is going to be 1.25 grams over milliliters. All right? So that is how we work through the density of a solid in a regular solid. Okay? If you do know, volume is equal to length times width times height. So if you have a box or a square, you can figure out the volume without using a graduated cylinder. Although in this case, I want you to find an irregular shaped object, put it on in here, and try and find the volume. Try and find the density using this formula. And we will you'll be able to discuss that with your teacher when you're done. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can talk to your teacher. You can certainly get a hold of me, and we will help you out through that. Next step is going to be the volume of liquids, and I will see you soon.